Good morning, everybody. So we didn't do much filming after we left Rainier last night. When we found this spot, I looked at the map and we're like clear on the opposite end of the forest of where Rainier is. So yeah, we drove quite a ways, but we found this nice little nook here. We found our favorite white noise too, as well, as I'm sure you can hear. There's a creek right over there, really nice. And yeah, we're just kind of getting freshened up this morning. And the creek offered a really nice shower. And I know I talked about this in the past a little, about sourcing water. I believe I mentioned you can find it from RV fill-ups or dump stations. You can get it at stores, gas stations, and by the gallon. Or you could do what I'm about to do and filter it from a creek. So this is the MSR gravity-fed water filter. It's a little pricey for its caliber compared to other ones on the market that are like it, and you can definitely get bigger ones than this one. The reason I like this one is because I can take it backpacking. I used to use a hand crank MSR filter, and it did the job really well, but after hiking a really long time, uphill mountains and everything, you just don't feel like working that hard to get fresh water. So gravity fed was the answer. No work, no nothing. You just let it do its own thing. But a few reasons I like this is because of its size. Everything will fit neatly into this bag. And the other thing I like about this, in my research I found, is that most of these actually have the water outlet on the bottom. The problem with that is that any debris that's in the water will sink to the bottom, and you don't really want that going into your filter. So having it on the side is actually a really good solution, and MSR is the only filter I saw on the market at the time that actually did this. Everybody else had theirs on the bottom. And I mean, it's okay and all, because there is a screen on the side that will filter out a bit, and I'm pretty sure all the other filters on the market do the same thing, but it's just one less hassle to worry about. The filter part, on the other hand here, this is the pricey part. This one, I can't remember the price on this. It was like $50 or $80. I'm pretty sure it was like $50. I can't remember for sure though. But this is the water filter, and that's all there is to it. You just have dirty water going on one side, clean water coming out on the other, and it just kind of trickles out here. And we'll just let that go for a few hours. I'll probably have to refill the tank here. I really like this. I'm very happy with this water filter. I mean, sure, there are better ones out on the market, and I could probably get one of those, but this one does the job, and we really don't ever use it unless it's a last-ditch effort to get water. And this is a last-ditch effort to get water, because the RV dump station where we would have filled up is actually closed. So yeah, that's all there is to it on the water filter. And I mean, it's perfect. Like I said, you know, it's a little small and a little slow. There are better ones out there, but for the most part, this suits our needs completely. You know, our water filter is really designed to be a last-ditch effort to get water, and that just happens to be what we have to do today, because there's nowhere to fill up. So we're gonna let that run for a bit. We're probably gonna get packed up and make our way to Seattle. My wife braved the cold stream for a shower.
Yay. I'm clean. I'm cold.
Clean and cold.
I'm cold.
Well, that's the first time I've taken a shower in a creek.
Not the first time for me. That was certainly the coldest one.
Yeah, it is pretty cold water. So, if you guys are wondering how we take showers and stay clean traveling on the road all this time, it boils down to just a couple of things, and that is basically taking every advantage of anything we can get at any time. But for the most part, I think as far as showers go, we've only had like 3 this whole trip. And it does kind of suck, but let me get back in some light here. But I mean, it is what it is. You just kind of have to work around with what you have. So like when we got out of Zion, that was our first time we got to use the showers, and honestly my experience with actual showers sucks because it's kind of community-based showers. They're not really clean, they're pretty gross, and I just didn't really like them. The alternative is using wet wipes and just wiping down completely. We've done that a few times. And then the third thing is, like what we did today, is just use the creek. That it works. It's cold water, yeah, but it does the job. So that's pretty much the best advice I have for anybody who's wondering how we do it. But there's no science to it. You just kind of work with what you have and make it do. But anyway, I'm still waiting for this water to get filled up to the top. We're going to get packed up and we're going to go to Seattle and probably do some laundry while we're there too. We are currently in Olympic National Forest, and it is evening, and we are currently trying to solve the daily problem that we always face, of course, of finding a campsite. So our campsites that we had pre-picked before coming here are closed. So those plans are kind of out the window, and we are back at scratching around trying to find something that will suffice. So I figured this would probably be a good opportunity to share with you guys what our process is for finding campsites, because I haven't really done a whole lot of that. So I guess we'll just commentate on looking for a good campsite. If you're looking to find a good campsite, pre-planning is great, but don't hold too close to your plans, because a lot of times they're just going to go right out the window. So I have some tips for you guys that might help you find a really good campsite, and hopefully you won't have as many issues as we do, although it's probably inevitable. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's really a matter of when. And it just got really dark, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Alright, now that our brightness issue is fixed, that's probably going to be an issue going in and out of these trees here. But anyway, tip number 1, have maps. So you always want to make sure your campsite is legal. You don't want to be finding yourself on private property with an angry property owner eventually coming over to figure out what's going on his property because you're camping on it. So you always want to make sure you are legal on your campsite. And having maps is a great way of doing that. I use Gaia. That'll tell me what's national forest, what's not, what's BLM and what's not, and it even tells me property ownership as well too on some layers. Tip number 2, avoid the easy camp spots when you're picking them, because everyone and their mom has a highway vehicle, and those vehicles can get in those sites super easy, and if they're easy to get, they're probably already going to be taken by the time you get there. The further in you go, the less motivation people have to go in, especially if you get more technical road. So it's kind of a bonus to having a fun trail and finding a good camp spot, because the deeper you go in, the less likely these sites will be taken. Not a guarantee, but it might work. It might increase your probability of finding a camp spot. And that kind of leads into tip number 3, have a high lift vehicle. So those are 3 tips that might help you guys. And we are still looking around for a site. We saw one a little ways back. It was a pull-off with a creek next to it. I'm not the biggest fan of pull-offs just because they're right next to main forest roads. I kind of like to have something a little more tucked away, but if nothing else, we can turn around and grab it. So anyway, these are our 2 sites we picked here that I was looking at originally. They're closed off, gates are locked, but these forest roads back here are completely open, and there are a lot here. So there's no really indication on which way we should go, but I'm kind of feeling like we should go left. That one looks a little less traveled, so I think that's a good direction to go. But who knows? I've been wrong before. You gotta be careful with these campsite hunts sometimes, and you have to try not to get discouraged, because you may spend hours and waste half your gas tank just trying to find a campsite just for one night. And you know, you may have to settle for less. But let's take a look down here and see what we can find. I see a lot of pullouts, but there's just no room for a rooftop tent. And this road is pretty steep. I'm gonna kick it into 4 here. We're making a pretty big climb. I'm hoping at the top of this there's a nice clear out. Oh, and we're above the peak. Sunlight at last. Now I'm gonna kick it into 4 low. This is getting really steep. There we go. Just behind me there's a pull-off. I almost missed it. I'm gonna go walk over and check it out. Yeah, this little road right here. I wouldn't have seen it if it was darker out. And there's not really any level ground, so I'm not really liking it. I think the only level spot is this right here, and that's just not big enough to pull out our tent. This tree's kind of in the way. I mean, if I could back in. That's kind of the problem with most of these sites, is they're just kind of too small. It's a bust.
What's wrong with it?
It's just really, really tiny.
Okay. As is most of these out here.
I know, I was just commenting on that. Ooh, now here's a nice clearing. And that is a heck of a view out there. Yeah, this could work. Okay, so I got the car in position. Pretty level for the most part. It is a little downwards on the feet side of the tent, but it would definitely work. And then I noticed one small detail. My rear hatch is facing off a cliff. I'm not really comfortable with that, so I think what we're gonna do is explore what's up this road over there just a little bit, and we'll take a peek just to see what's there, and hopefully no one's there. Ah, there it is. Okay, now we're talking. Not as wide of a view, but definitely nice nonetheless. I think we can make this work. I think if I pulled in over there instead, it might be a little more level. But, you know, it's really just trial and error here. I would love to add some leveling blocks to my kit, but I did not get to do that before this trip, so we just kind of make it work as we can. We're a little high on the driver's side, but that's okay because feet are pointing that way anyway. So feet will be downhill, heads will be up. That won't be too big of an issue, but we'll make it work. It's a really nice view. Well guys, that's kind of our technique, I guess you could say, for finding a good campsite. Generally, most of them are really good. You know, you can get really awesome views like this back here, or, you know, sometimes some are just total losers, and, you know, you spend 5 hours wandering the forest looking for something that'll just do, you know. That's just our process. I hope that was useful to some of you guys, and, you know, if you guys have any tips for finding good campsites, let us know. We're gonna get dinner going, enjoy this really awesome sunset, and probably just crash, because we traveled quite a ways today. We started in Rainier, went to Seattle, Tacoma area for some chores, laundry mostly, and then drove out here. So tomorrow, hopefully, we'll be exploring Olympic National Park.